Here, have a round number total.
Phoenix Down Radio is on the air. With your hosts, Klaus Nightbringer, Ser Timono, Seyo Mayo, and Luna Vox.
Welcome everybody to Phoenix Down Radio, episode number 14. I am Klaus Nightbringer, and bringing it into the game, we have with us this week, Luna Vox. Say hey, Luna.
Hey, Luna.
Ha ha ha. We also have Seyo Mayo. Hey, Seyo, how's it going?
Pretty good. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. And Seyo's the one on the couch, not the one with standing on the table. They're both about the same size, but anyway.
Wait, I thought the one on the table was Sarah.
No, unfortunately, Sarah's gone this week. He had other things that he needed to take care of, but he's here in spirit with us. He just couldn't join us for the show, so we hope to see him on our next show. But we do have a guest. All the way from England, we have one Chille from the PlayStation Unchained podcast. Say hi, Chille.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us, Chille.
Thank you for having me on.
You are, the only way I can describe it as a rabid Phoenix Down Radio supporter.
I love that title.
Rabid.
Foaming
at the mouth.
Yeah, basically. We've tried to get you...
The spy cameras.
We've tried to get you over here to Hyperion, but we understand that you don't want to necessarily leave your free company housing and all that good stuff over on Ultros. But if you ever change your mind, you'll always have a spot here with us. So,
well, thank you so much.
Also want to thank our not Chille, aka Nick Nar, for the donation in the middle of the intro. But no, it's always appreciated, timing or not. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. All the donations, as you can see in the lower left corner, are going to send us to FanFest coming up in October. So we're hoping to raise $1,000 so that way Luna, myself, Seyo, and Ser can all meet up at FanFest in Vegas and meet up with a bunch of the fans, a bunch of other podcasters, meet with the dev team, and just have a real good time about the game. So,
yep, go Ultros, as it said in the chat.
Go Ultros, Muramasa. All right, so a little bit of show news to talk about. Like I said, we talked about the fundraising. We do have we may have a little surprise announcement if we do hit that $1,000 goal. So the more people we can get to donate and help us out. Chille, you don't have to donate when you're a guest. Anyway, here we go.
Chille.
But we love you anyway. If we can hit that $1,000 goal, we have a special announcement at that time. So help us out, and we'll get to that point. So thanks. We do have a couple of other contests that we have going on as well. We are doing a Twitch and Twitter followers contest, where once we hit 100 Twitter followers, we're going to choose a person from random number generation, and they will get a custom commission drawn by Luna.
Yep.
And once we hit 200 Twitch follows, we're going to pick another random person, and that person is going to get a Mog Station minion of their choice. We are currently at 77 Twitter follows and 116 Twitch follows. I love being in triple digits there, guys. So we thank you very much.
Pretty great.
If you haven't already, please go ahead and click on that little green heart button below the stream, and it'll that way you'll know when we go live next. Because we do this podcast every other week right now, but we do also do some streaming randomly. Like I'll do raid nights and just random stuff like that. So it'll let you know when we go live. So, and like I said, it really helps us to know that we're appreciated and that people out there like what we're doing. So. If you can help us out there, then we can give stuff away and maybe get more contests going in the future.
Let us give you free things.
Exactly.
Help us help you.
Help me.
Us
help you. Thanks for the follow there, Chicken Hawk. It's appreciated. So what's everybody been up to in game? I know somebody hasn't been doing anything in game.
No, well, not this game. I'm sorry, guys. I'm cheating on you.
Luna.
I have to admit it. I'm sorry. It's just this other game. This other game came on to me and it was like, "Hey there, Luna. You like what you see? Come play with me."
Behave.
I'm pretty sure every single podcast goes through this conversation at one point or another.
No, and it's fine. Luna's been playing Stardew Valley. She likes
It's so good, guys. It's so good. I'm a virtual farmer. I would never do this shit in real life, but oh my god, I have chickens and goats and ducks and corn.
You know, you can just go move to a farm.
Every time you shut the game down.
That just sounds so amazing.
It is. Just
I'm face palming over here so hard right now,
Harvest Moon, but better.
and that makes it even worse.
No, it's
But
not.
you openly admitted not having ever played Harvest Moon, so how can you even make that comparison?
I hear what other people say. I went back and kind of watched Harvest Moon videos.
Okay, I'll give it to you.
Okay, so of those who have been actually playing this game that we're podcasting about, Saya, what have you been up to?
It's been all I could do this week to cap my lore, do a little bit of crafting. I've been working a little bit on blacksmith.
Nice.
Trying to get all my crafts up to 60, gatherers up to 60 and whatnot. You know, to make a little bit of money to fund all of this nice I-220 stuff that we've been getting.
Yeah.
Because I don't have a raid group yet. I'm going to be looking pretty soon because my work schedule finally permits me to do that. Well, but most of the week I've actually been trying to just get some of these show notes done, to be honest.
Yeah, Sarah, you really worked hard on the show notes this week, and it's greatly appreciated. You kind of filled in for Sarah on a lot of topics, so thank you for all that help.
Yeah, it's whatever I can do.
How about you, Chille? What have you been doing in game?
Just by roulettes, pretty much, to be honest.
Have you been hitting the division as well?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of division.
I kind of figured. I've listened to your podcast over there, and the two games that you always seem to talk about are Final Fantasy XIV, which your co-hosts love you talking about, and they love you talking about us, especially.
Yeah, I like to spend a lot of time talking about you guys. Just put some placeholder name points down occasionally.
Yeah. And like I said, we're going to throw it back. PlayStation Unchained, they're a really good British PlayStation podcast. They can be found at psu.com. And they actually have some pretty good episodes. I think you're in the hundreds now, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. We're 100. We just finished recording today. Went live, actually, today.
Very cool.
It's
Very
rare
nice.
that the editor decides to actually edit on the same day. I love him, but he forgets sometimes.
Is that Kevin?
Yeah, that's Kevin.
Yeah. Like I said, a great group of guys, so if you get a chance to check them out, we'll link them. Actually, they're already linked on phoenixdownradio.com. If you go into the links page at the top, you'll see, you should see psu.com in the Friends of Phoenix Down Radio.
Thank you so much.
Like I said, you're an avid supporter, so we're going to try and support you back as much as possible. We beat at I can talk today. It's one of those. Yeah, I think I've been spending too much. The wording and the braining. It's just gone. No. Was raiding with Daijo Booty. That's my raid group with Riss and Skage. Those of you who tune into some of the midweek podcasts, you're familiar with Daijo Booty, I'm sure. We're a crazy bunch of people. We beat Seph-X, so everybody's got their Sephiroth 220 weapons. And we started Midas Savage this week. We were at 1% on the Hummelfaust when an even bigger boss came in and beat us all, or at least beat me. And that's Mediacom.
Damn it, Mediacom.
My internet just went to shit that day, and I could not get it back going, but cross fingers, knock on wood, everything's been good so far. So hopefully they found the issue that was going on, and everything's going to be more solid. But yeah, it's really a pain in the ass when you're in those fights, and it's so tight. The timings and the scripting of everything, and you need every little bit of DPS. It's just, and you're lagging, and you're dead. So yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of how that goes. But that's kind of been my week. Then, went through and capped. I love the fact that Heaven's Word hunt mobs drop lore tomes. It makes it so easy to go and get those capped tomes now.
Yep.
So that way you
and
don't.
We'll be going into some of the details about that a little bit later too.
Yep. So that's kind of what we've been up to. Like I said, I mean, for everybody in the chat who's watching us, we appreciate all. We're up to 20 at one point, so thanks for joining us. You guys can always let us know what you guys are up to in game as well. You can do it in the chat, or you can send us an email. You can email us at podcast@phoenixdownradio.com, or you can go out to phoenixdownradio.com and click on the Contact Us, and it'll give you all the links for that as well. So we want to hear from you guys as well. Give us something more to talk about. So moving on, game and community news. We're going to start with Susan Calloway. Those of you who may not be familiar, Susan Calloway is the recording artist who sings Answers, the theme song from 1.0. Very, very haunting, very beautiful song. On March 4th, she released an artist cut of that song, and I went and bought it right away. I had to. It was really good. Guys?
Same here.
Yeah,
it was the first thing I did when I woke up.
Yeah, I was actually coming home from work around 1 o'clock that morning, and that's the first thing I did when I got back was I went and downloaded it. It was pretty great.
Yeah, I thought she did a really good job on it. It doesn't have all of the as much grandeur as the game version has, because it's not the same kind of tone. She kind of gave it more of a pop tone, but it still has a lot of soulfulness in her voice. So I really enjoyed it. Chille, did you get a chance to listen to it?
No, I haven't had a listen to it yet. I should get it though.
Well,
you have to get it after this.
You can find it on iTunes, Google Music, Amazon, or right from Susan's website, www.susancalloway.com/store. And you can download it from there. 99 cents at most places, $125 from her website. I believe you get a direct download at that point. Otherwise, it goes through DRM. So, like I said, if you haven't yet, go check it out. There's also links to it on Phoenix Down webpage. So you can check it out that way as well if you want.
So, Klaus.
Yes?
Can I ask what else you've been doing this week, or this weekend?
Or you mean today, mainly? And all that
Today
stuff?
and yesterday.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of us have been doing that. Well, maybe not Chille, but I know the three of us have been spending some time at a friend of the show's charity stream. Those who may not be familiar, you've probably seen me tweet and put up Facebook posts and a website posts about Escalia Ryomasa. He is the co-host of Limit Break Radio, and he has been charity streaming for the past, 28 and a half hours. He's been going, and they're still going strong. They've been streaming Final Fantasy IX over at Limit Break Radio, or at twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio, and in less than 24 hours, they raised over $3,000. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Yeah. All the proceeds of this stream are going to Transgender Michigan. It's a nonprofit charity organization that is. You may have heard him talk about us if you've listened to the show before. He was a guest host about a month ago. He talked about it then, but all the funds are going to go to this group, and they help people with gender issues, not just in Michigan, but all across the world. People call in, and they get help, support, just somebody to talk to, and they just do a lot of good work to help people who maybe would not have had somebody to talk to with the issues that they're dealing with. So I think it's really awesome that he's doing that. So.
Yeah, the charity's really great. I mean, they get calls from people that from in other countries that it's not acceptable. It's actually looked down upon for being transgender, and these people that are transgender in these countries that some even are against the law can call in, get help. They have resources for doctors, and it's a great charity. And if you have a few bucks, please head over there and donate to Callie and just help these people.
As soon as our stream is over today, we're going to do a host over to Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream. So, I mean, even if you don't have a couple of bucks, just sit there, hang out, engage with Callie, with everybody in the chat. They're a really good group of people, and I think you'll see how infectious it is, and how you'll see that Callie is really doing something that she cares about. And Callie's just a really awesome person. So once we're done with the show today, we're going to do a host over there instead of more music afterwards. So just check it out if you'd like. And if you like what you see, they do a weekly podcast, Limit Break Radio, about Final Fantasy XIV as well. So you can give them a follow if you haven't already. Many of you maybe are familiar with them, but they are a great show. They're actually one of the reasons why we do what we do now too. So they're definitely an inspiration for us. So there's that.
Tell them that Phoenix Down Radio sent you.
Yeah, they would actually probably appreciate that. So we've been working really hard with Callie to cross-promote a lot of this because we wanted to make sure to get as many people involved with this as possible. So I like to think that we were helpful. I know we probably donated a little more than we should have, but that's just kind of how
refunds.
That's kind of how Callie is. They draw the best out of you. So help out a good cause.
Palindrome.
Go Team Palindrome, exactly. I'm going to just talk briefly about this. I'm sorry. Then we'll move on. In the raising of funds, there's 3 different factions. Team Breakers, Team Fixers, and Team Palindrome. Now, what that means is the dollar amount that they're raised is based on what team you're on. So if you want a nice, pretty number, like $2,700 or $10.15 or whatever, something, a nice even number, .00, that is Team Fixers. You want a nice pretty number. Team Breakers don't care. They put in whatever number they want, and it just, whatever the number shows up, and that's what they get. They break it all. They make it look ugly. Team Palindrome, which Phoenix Down Radio is avid supporters of, all 3 of us, you make the number a palindrome. So, actually, technically, right now, it is a palindrome. It is $3,333.33.
Yes.
Oh, wow, we hit that? I haven't even been over there in 45 minutes.
One of the supporters just donated $163. I've got them. I'm watching them on a second computer to make sure they're still running by the time we're done, so we can have something to rehost. So they're at 33. So go Team Palindrome. Woo!
Yeah. I'm sure they will be. They're not even a Terra yet, so
yeah. So when we're done, check it out. Like I said, I think you'll have a great time. All right, so more in-game news. PvP was added this week. The Feast. Who's tried that out?
I have.
I tried it out with you.
Oh yeah. Chille, have you tried it?
I'm not a PvP guy. I haven't even tried it yet. I haven't even tried Sealed Rock yet.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Chille, you disappoint.
I need to do it. I need to do it though because I need the music. I need that music. All of the music.
Oh, the music in the Feast is awesome. I love that theme song. So
it's
can
like
you get the music from there?
Yeah, it's called Starved.
Damn.
Very nice. So it's right now this is preseason. So it's basically practice. Learn the system, rank up, get your gear. When 3.25 drops is when the season starts. The first season will be going at that point, and then we're going to have ranked ladder matches and things like that. So there's going to be 6 different tiers of ranking that you can work your way through, all the way from unranked scrub all the way up to diamond or platinum, one of the 2, right? Diamond, I think, isn't it?
Diamond is the highest.
Yeah, I think it's diamond.
And the top individuals are going to get some cool swag. Kind of bummed that they haven't announced any team rewards, but
well, actually, let's talk about that for a minute because they have obviously they've announced the single rewards for
Mhm.
the solo ranked queue.
Yep.
But for the party queue, they have not only not announced that we're not getting rewards, but they've also announced that we're not getting rewards. So for season 1, definitively, there are no ranked rewards for party play. Now, you can have your rank for team play, but
Now I wonder if
doesn't
that's
do anything
because
for
they're
you.
waiting to see what happens with the individuals first.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, possibly, but there is a camp of people on the forums that are pissed.
Yeah, I can see that, but because there's a lot of people who wanted to create their PvP statics, basically.
Yeah.
And now this doesn't give them any incentive to do so. I'm sure they still will, but they'll have to probably spend more time doing it solo and hoping that they get together. They're probably tying their queues and things like that. But as we tried the other night, we only got together once, Vox, maybe twice. When we were doing it individually.
Yeah, when we were doing solo queue, we never went against each other, but we did get paired up like twice, I think.
Yeah, so I mean and healers seem to have a really good queue. DPS again, kind of getting the shaft. Tanks have a pretty fast queue as well. So,
but it's really nice because, as everyone knows, Joe Never Fails is doing that. Well, he was doing the Friday night fight, but now you can go in there any time of day, most time of days during the day, and you get queued within half an hour versus several hours before.
I think right now at this point it's new enough where you're going to get queued within 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I never waited very long, so at least during prime time it's going to be pretty fast queues. But other than that, like I said, I mean it was fun. But I think the biggest reason that people are queuing right now is to get that wolf pup. And here's the cool thing about it: it's not a drop from a chest; it is random. It's going to drop to a random person's directly to their inventory. So, and you don't have to win either.
Jesus.
You don't have to win.
Nope.
Yeah, I think that's also the same thing with the faded sheet of music as well.
Very possible. I haven't seen that yet either, so we'll see how that all goes.
There's Wolfmark costs for the music.
Okay, so you have to buy that with wolf marks. Okay, I haven't looked at so that makes sense.
I think it's about 10,000.
10,000 wolf marks? Isn't that the cap? No, it's 20, isn't it? Cap is 20, I think. Either way, yeah, like I said, I had fun in it, but I can see we had a couple people that were a little too serious. Kind of being assholes about it, but you know what? People need to realize that this is brand new. Yeah, I got queued up with him again, and he was a little bit quieter that time, but people need to realize that, yes, this is the time when people are going to come in and learn PvP. Not everybody is an expert at it. So you need to make sure that, hey, people need to learn the system, so back the fuck off and let them learn. Let's have some fun, right?
Even more so, guys, this is preseason. This shit don't matter.
Yeah, your ranking doesn't matter. You're not going to get... the only thing you're going to get out of this is a big old E-peen, and that's about it. You'll get some wolf marks, but you'll get them half as fast as if you lose, but you know what? If you help somebody learn how to use their PvP skills and maybe teach them a thing or two, you might end up with a good ally in the future. So you know what? Stop being a douche.
Yeah, what he said. Don't do it. God damn.
Anyway, rant over. But so when you go in there, just go and have some fun. Do it for fun. This is the time to learn it and get the stuff, rank up, have a blast. Because if you get the right people, it is a lot of fun. So I recommend it. Anybody else want to say anything about the feast?
Give me that Fenrir pup.
Other than that, because I think it's 5 mil right now.
I haven't checked it today.
I didn't check. Yeah, I didn't check it today either.
Might be lower.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to add in really quick. I'm sure that we say this all the time. Especially when we do Friday night fights, but PvP in 14 is very, very different. It's a very, very different game than PvE in 14.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't ever really go in there with the mindset, oh, I'm just going to treat the players that I run into, like any other mobs that I would run into outside in the world. No, it doesn't really work like that.
You need a lot of strategy.
Different set of rules and a very high learning curve. So I don't get discouraged.
Yeah, I've gone up against Joe a number of times during the Friday night fights, and he just face rolled me, and I'm like, wow, he's good. But I wasn't like, God damn it, Joe's an asshole. No, because Joe's the swagoon. Joe's a cocky mofo. But you know what? He worked at that, and he helps other people to get that good. So we need more Joes, and we need less assholes.
Yeah. I know I learned a lot from Joe because I asked him, how did the frick do you use Scholar? And he gave me a lot of helpful tips. He was nice. He was patient with me. And then he kicked my ass several times, and I cried.
Yeah, I remember.
He told me every single time that he would kick my ass, he said, you did a good job, but you still fucked up. He didn't say you still fucked up, but he told me I did a good job. Yeah,
he's a good guy. Like I said, I want to throw a shout out to Joe Never because he is a good guy, and he's a lot of fun to watch. If you get a chance, he is the Swagoon. If you get a chance to watch his streams, he streams a lot of PvP. He is at twitch.tv/Joe Never Fails. So check him out if you want a really, really high energy streamer. All right, Hatching Tide. Yay.
Yay.
So
you just kind of blew the load there, Vox.
Papaya.
I was going to say,
I've lost control, people.
If I didn't, I think Sarah was going to come find us, come through the monitor, and kill me.
Yes.
So I had to put it in there.
No, that's probably the best thing that's going to be coming out of it is it's going to be the Papaya song for the Orchestrion. It's going to be purchasable, I believe, with Gil or something, or tokens from the event. It starts on Tuesday, March 15th. New dev blog post talks about the upcoming event, and the event page will go live on the 14th, giving all the details. There's going to be a new barding coming out, a lot of egg-themed housing items, stuff like that. And then, of course, the Papaya Orchestrion roll. So, that's all there is with that, really, I guess. And that goes usually for 2 weeks, and yeah, have fun with it. I mean, I'm just hoping that they're getting better with their events. I mean, that's why I'm kind of like, with the events right now, because a lot of the new events have been so lackluster in comparison to what we've had in the past. Mm-hmm. Am I the only one who's thinking that otherwise?
Well, no, they've been like 20-minute ordeals. Not even ordeals. It's just like 20-minute like run around one city. Like usually, I don't know, like last year, 2 years ago with New Year's, you would have to go through all three cities. Mm-hmm. Do 3 very different quests, and then you would get a minion from it. Now it's like, okay, servers are going down at 12 o'clock my time. I haven't done this Little Ladies Day festival thing yet, and I kind of want the achievement. I think I'm going to go do it now. Within 5 minutes, I've gotten the achievement.
Yep, it's really basic. Yeah. So, the event before that, the Valention's event, wasn't bad. That was a lot better than the Heaven's Turn event. That one was terrible this year. But, we have had good events. I'm just hoping that this one is better than some of the ones in the past. So let's hope.
I think with the if they're releasing something as permanent as barding and the Papaya Orchestrion scroll, I think they know people like that song. I think they know people like that festival. I don't think they're going to cheap it out.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing with that though is make it a little bit of work. Make people put a bit of time into it. Not make it. Oh, I clicked the button, and now I get the pellet. Make them walk through the maze. Make them do some stuff, and then give them the pellet.
Mm-hmm. Anyone remember the amazing events on Pharmacy 11? Some of those were
hilarious. My god, those events were epic in comparison. The Christmas event with the Treants?
Oh, yeah.
Chasing around the Ebisu guys in all the starter zones?
Yeah.
What about chasing the buffaloes?
And all the New Year's, yeah, you chase the buffaloes, the monkeys, all that stuff. I mean, those took some work, and you had to work with people to do it. I mean, it wasn't just, oh, you know what? I'm just going to go talk to this person, and boom, I have everything. Yay! No, we actually worked for that shit.
For the buffaloes, that was actually supposed to be kind of like bowls. It was in the summertime.
And didn't it knock you to a different zone if you got hit?
Yeah, they would headbutt you halfway across the world.
Crazy stuff. But no, I mean, I'm not saying that all the events have to be that intense, but you know what? Give us something like we had with the 11 crossover. That 11 crossover was great. It brought us into different zones. It gave us feels. It had good storyline behind it. I thought it was wonderful.
It made me resub to 11 for a few months. We'll get into that at some point.
I never played 11, so I can't really say anything on it.
Well, like I said, I still see 11 through the rose-colored glasses of yesteryear, but it's a totally different game from what it was now. I tried to go back to it a couple of years ago, and it was so different. I'd given everything up in my character because I thought I was never going to go back to Klaus again, 11 Klaus. But and then I went back in during a free play weekend, and like I said, I had all the stuff that I couldn't give away, but no money, no weapons, no macros that I had set up because that was a very macro dependent game. So I was like, how do I do this shit again?
How do I do things?
I'm not even going to try and sell you because any reason that I could have for going back is not based in the realm of logic. So
at least you're honest with it. So.
You guys know why I stopped playing 11, right?
No, I don't think you ever told us.
Dad. Basically, I was visiting America, and I logged in at my friend's place. Well, Square Enix, I got hacked because of this, so I decided to change my password. Well, my email address on the account was an old email address because I had to import Final Fantasy 11 from America, this was about 6 years before then. So I forgot to change emails, that's my own stupid fault. So Square Enix would refuse to give me my new password because they'd only send it to the email on the account. So I kind of lost my account.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of companies that are still like that on certain things, so it's a bummer, but...
Hence why I've got the password thingy-majig app now to make sure.
Your one-time use password thing?
Yeah.
Right on.
Now it shouldn't happen again.
Exactly, yeah, because then you don't have to worry about resetting passwords and things like that. So there you go, folks. If you don't have your one-time password, it's free. If you want to if you got it the smartphone app. Otherwise, I think it's like $10 to buy the physical authenticator token, and they last for. Go ahead, Chille.
I have the original 1.0 Collector's Edition token still somewhere.
I do too, and it's unregistered. So I could, if I wanted to, I could register it. But the thing that sucks about that is when I switched over to 14, 1.0 that is, I was using my actual old FF11 authenticator token. And when I unsubbed that and switched over to the app on the phone, that is no longer useful anymore. So. Nick Nar's still using his token from 11, so... The only reason I switched...
Mine from 11.
I got that thing when they were first released, and I bought it for $10, so I thought it was worth it, but the only reason I switched is because you can't change the batteries in it, because once it dies, it dies. So
yeah, I've actually had to change it one time. And I had to call them and say, hey, look, I need you to take this off. Now, it died on a Sunday. That's bad news bears. That's very bad news bears. Because I had to wait until Monday to be able to log back in.
Hey, at least it wasn't Friday night.
Oh, that would have sucked.
Exactly. Oh, we're kind of getting off topic, though. So let's keep going on. Talk about the next live letter coming up, March 26th. 2 weeks from today. In the morning. The early morning. 3 a.m. Pacific. Producer and director Yoshi P will be answering questions in the forums and social media. He will also have a guest. I forgot who the guest was. I put it on the website post that I made.
It is, I forget his first name, but his last name's Minagawa. He's the lead UI designer.
UI designer, correct. So we're going to have the guy who designs the way the game front end looks and feels. The HUD, all that good stuff. All your buttons, all your bars, all that fun stuff.
Add-ons, maybe?
What?
SE,
Add-on? No. Gonna just squash it right there so you don't, dream too
What's
much.
That I can see in the sky. What's that I can see flying? Oh, it looks like it's a pig.
No add-ons. No.
That was mean, Chille. No meaner than me, I guess, but good on you. All right.
So, are we going to be covering that?
Yeah, we're I'm sure somebody's going to be watching it. Luna.
Yeah, right. Luna.
If you want to, maybe Sayo will watch it.
You fucking know I will be there.
That's true. I'm too old for that shit, and I'm going to be sleeping. So we will have our agents watching the stream and taking diligent notes, and we will cover what happens on the episode that night. So we will be covering that. I don't know if there's going to be a ton of stuff to talk about, but we'll find out. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about the game, the community, anything in general?
I think we pretty much exhausted everything, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge game news for the game this week, but yeah, it is what it is. We got to cover a little bit of stuff. Like I said, it's been a good community week, with Susan and with Callie, so that's been a lot of fun for me. So, all right, this week's discussion topic, we're gonna kind of go off on a tangent a little bit. We're putting story spoilers. We're still putting a moratorium on spoilers for 3.2. We may talk about them on our next show, but we want to give people a chance to go through the game. I know their shows are talking about storyline and all this and that, but you know what? If you guys haven't had a chance to do it yet, we're not going to make you guys hear it. We're not going to make you tune us out. We're going to wait until our next show to talk about what happened in the 3.2 storyline and go from there. So we're going to kind of go off the rails a little bit. This is something we've been kind of saving for about a month and a half, actually. I wanted to put it into a show earlier, but we had so much news to talk about with 3.2 coming up that we found a couple of threads out on the subreddit talking about future jobs in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, those of you who were around for the event that they had for the what do they call that again, Sayo?
The Rising.
The Rising, yes. Basically the anniversary event for Final Fantasy XIV, where they basically broke the fourth wall and they brought everybody up to the 16th floor, I think it was. 18th floor. How bad am I for not remembering shit?
Shame on you, Cloud.
Yes.
That's the actual.
That's the actual floor, which is cool. Yeah, I knew it was in the teens. So give me some credit there, guys. When they brought us up to the 18th floor, and we talked with, Virtual Yoshi and all the development team and everybody in there. A couple of spoilers, little hints that they threw out there were, talking about blue and red, where everybody kind of speculated, oh, blue what, red what, and I think everybody thinks blue mage and red mage. So we found a couple of really cool threads of people who took the idea of what Blue Mage and Red Mage have been in Final Fantasy in general, and they figured out what would it take to make them work in Final Fantasy XIV. Now, it's just something fun that we wanted to kind of play with here. So we're going to start with Red Mage, and this is kind of my baby, because I don't know how many of you know this about me, but I am a Red Mage for life. When I played Final Fantasy XI, I mained a Red Mage, and that was what I was. I played it nonstop. It was my only 75 character, and I loved it. I mean, I even went so far as I got a Red Mage tattoo, all right? I'm that much...
Sure he does.
That's hardcore.
It's an awesome tattoo too, as well. It's a Final Fantasy III version of a Red Mage with Final Fantasy 11 AF armor look. I'll have to link that in the website or something like that sometime because I think it's really freaking cool. Luna's seen it many times.
It is really cool. Yeah, it is really cool. It's really well done.
But I mean, that's how much I love Red Mage. Now, Red Mage in Final Fantasy in general is considered the jack of all trades yet master of none. In the no, Jordan, you will not get haste and you will not get refresh. You can go fuck yourself.
The massive refresh and haste. But,
exactly. You're the refresh whore.
Dispel it.
Okay. Anyway, continuing on. Sorry, Nick. I had to call you out there. So, Red Mage has appeared in some shape or form in like every Final Fantasy game out there. In the original Final Fantasy, it was the mage that could cast both low to mid-level black and white, but couldn't get the high-level stuff. It could also use the low and mid-level swords, daggers, and even some plate armor, but not the high-level stuff. So, I mean, at the beginning, it was actually really cool because you could have like 3 or 4. There's people who've done the 4 Red Mage party, because they can do whatever they want with that at that point. But once you get towards the end game, it gets actually really difficult. Because that's where the Red Mage in the original game really has issues because it can't get that high level stuff to take out the high level bosses like Chaos and Tiamat and all that. But and then in other games they kind of get their own little flair. The one thing that all of them have is they've got the signature red armor, and they generally have that red pimp hat, right?
That pimp hat.
Always.
That pimp hat. Like I said, it's one of the most beloved jobs by many players, myself included. And I'm hoping that is going to be the next job that they release with the new expansion. I'm assuming that's when the new jobs are going to be coming out. They're probably not going to give them to us in a patch in 3.3, 4, or 5. I'm assuming that 4.0 is going to give us the new jobs. But so I'm hoping that Red Mage is going to be one of them. And there have been a number of speculative posts that have gone out all across the internet, not just Reddit, but other websites as well have talked about how would Red Mage work in a game like this. And most people go back to the other MMO, Final Fantasy XI, to see, will that Red Mage translate over? And I tell you right now, it won't. Final Fantasy XI was a totally different game with a totally different set of how everything worked. You did not run with the Trinity. Final Fantasy XIV has 3 job classes, basically. You've got tank, healer, DPS. If you don't fit in one of those 3 categories, you don't run. So the jobs all have to fit into one of those molds. And the Red Mage from 11 definitely did not fit any of those molds, am I right?
Well, I mean, it could kind of main heal. It
could heal, but it was not a great healer. It was mainly used as a for like farm parties. You'd go out to the jungle, or you'd go merit farming in Ottergon, and you would get a Red Mage to heal because that way you could get more DPS and down things faster.
Yeah,
but I mean,
you never have to stop ever.
You never ever though had a Red Mage main healing, say the gods or C or any of the really endgame stuff. They were then used for their debuff abilities. And their refresh and their haste. They were support. That's what they were. Plain and simple, Red Mage in Final Fantasy XI was a full support class.
Made them very versatile, though.
But yes, it did. I mean, Red Mage could be played a number of ways, and with Final Fantasy XI, their sub-job system, you could put in a sub-job of another job that you had leveled on your character, and you can give it some of those stats. So I mean, I would actually take Red Mage and I would sub-job Ninja for dual wield and some more fighting abilities, and I would go out and solo or duo some mid to high level stuff with other people and have fun that way. I mean, it's not like stuff that requires party, but...
Anybody remember Avesta, I think the name was?
Abyssia?
No, Avesta, the Red Mage.
The JP guy?
Yes.
Oh my god, I watch him solo Boone. Yeah, I've seen his videos when he soloed Boone. That was crazy. But yeah, I mean that's the type of stuff that you could do with that. But that type of game that's not 14. So that we're gonna have to look at something totally different now if we bring Red Mage over to Final Fantasy 14. Now, Reddit user Voltaire87 came up with this really, really cool thread back, like I said, about a month ago, talking about how they could fit in Red Mage into the universe of Final Fantasy XIV. So from his main post, I'll kind of read a little bit about that. The premise of the job is essentially one that flows between melee combat and ranged combat, and we're given skills and passive traits to do so with grace. Advance and retreat, granting respective stances from a technical standpoint, removes the need to rely on macros for swift stance changing, and further down the line deals with skill bloat, allowing you to remove stances from your hotballers altogether. I envision the Red Mage / Spell Fencer / whatever you want to call it, starts combat either in ranged or melee positions based on their preference, and then optimally they would probably begin range to inflict AoE like Dia 2 or Dia 3 on all targets before going in advance and entering melee combat. I like to think that this job performs well for the most part in melee situations before needing to retreat and reapplying dots or damage over time. Spontaneity immediately after retreat allows for the player to get their dots back up swiftly and begin their magical combo. Yada yada yada. He talks about some of the different skills that he actually fleshed out. I mean, he fleshed out full skills from 1 to 60 on this, and it was awesome. Some of the things that he put in there were really cool. Some really interesting abilities, like some of them that we're familiar with from previous games, like Dia, Banish, and Burning Blade. I mean, those are big ones that were used in 11 and previous games as well. But he brought in some new ones like On Guard, which was an increased evasion buff, Riposte, which was an attack that can be used immediately after evading, and then toggle abilities where you can basically dance back and forth between your ranged and your melee combat. What do you think of the sounds of that, guys?
Sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
It sounds like a really slick class to me.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of thought put into it.
I mean, he put a lot of thought into that, and if we can get something even close to that, I think that would be a great class to actually play in this game, and I will be all over that.
The only attack I have issue with is the one where you counter, after you evade, because Monk already has that with Haymaker, and who exactly uses Haymaker?
Well, maybe you add in some sort of additional ability to it, where once you use it, it maybe causes a stun or a silence or something along those lines. Because we always need those interrupts. Because Paladin has that where with Shield Bash, when you evade an attack, you can shield. No, it was a shield swipe. Shield swipe, and it actually pacifies the target for a few seconds, right?
Mm-hmm. When you block with your shield, you can use shield swipe, so you can proc that with Shieldtron.
Yeah, it could be it could be something similar to that. Maybe you pop on guard, you dodge your thing, and then when you get that chance, you use the riposte, and you can then silence them for 5 seconds or whatever the duration is. Maybe stun them. Maybe it could be like a stun lock type of thing. We all need more stuns.
But that would only work on an AoE attack unless the Red Mage is tanking, really.
No,
that's the main issue.
It would be more... That's a good point. Or it could also be kind of a soloing thing.
Yeah, well, I guess that's true, but same with the Haymaker, but I'm just thinking for the party.
I see. That's a good point. I didn't think of it on that terms, but yes, that's a very good point. So it'd be more of a solo ability, but it would be something that you could use that could have some... maybe when you're in party, you could end up having something proc it for you instead of necessarily evading an attack.
Well, let's think of it slightly differently for a moment. You know how when you're standing in an AoE bubble, okay, and you move out of it less than 0.5 seconds, or so before it actually goes off. And hey, you actually get that dodge message pop up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if a Red Mage actually goes into retreat or something, and then pops it, stands in the thing, and then moves out, they could theoretically have a use for it.
That's almost cheesing it though. Because, I mean, you could have that happen just in normal, you know. I mean, there could be, say, an attack that goes off that's raid-wide that isn't avoidable, you know, say, like in a boss dungeon, but maybe it'll give you a higher chance to evade it. And then it'll proc it for you, and then you can use it on the boss at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not necessarily going to be like something where you see the AoE spot drop on the ground. It could be just a regular AoE damage that goes out.
Right.
One that has the ability to be just dodged, because there are a number that you can't. So now it looks like Voltaire kind of envisioned Red Mage to be another Dex-based job, which I'm for. You know, that way it can use the same type of armor that Bard and Ninja and Machinist use in certain cases.
It would probably get scouting, I would think.
Sorry, what?
It would probably get scouting.
Maybe, but I mean, of course, the AF is damn well better be that pimp red hat.
Of course it would be.
But I guess, I mean, it could probably use something like scouting, but then use the aiming accessories. And give it another use, because otherwise right now they're ninja only. So it'd give you something that they could use. Like I said, it's a really cool thing, and their thing with the stance dancing, a lot of times, you know, you've got, say, White Mage, and when they use Cleric Stance, they switch their Mind and their Int stats. So whatever their Mind is now popped into Int. So that's when they can do a lot more damage with their combat spells. Now, I don't know if this is what the user was thinking, but my thought is it's probably going to swap between Dex and Int for Red Mage at that point, because then you got your Dex, which you're going to use for your physical attacks, and then when you Stance Dance and you pop that ability, you then put all those points from Dex into your Int, so you can use them with Banish and Dia and all those ranged spells, your dots and things like that, so you can do your ranged damage. Then you pop your Stance Dance again, and you jump right back into combat, and you start using your Dex for your physical attacks again with your Rapier.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be fun. I'd love to use a sword in this game.
It'd be nice to have another job that's using a sword other than a tank.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I'm not envisioning that this job would use the same type of sword. I'm picturing, you know, like the rapiers, the epis, the very thin, very light swords that you would picture, you know, like the Joy Toy, the Joyeuse from 11. You know, that would be like one of the relic weapons. I hope. I really hope.
That'd be amazing. That would be a relic weapon for a Red Mage.
I loved my Joy Toy. I talk about my Joy Toy too much, and it's been not that Joy Toy.
Klaus, that's not this kind of show. Put that away.
It is now. It is now.
No, that's my Joy stick. That's my.
It has to go off.
You're fired, Vox. Oh my.
Don't worry, I didn't realize what I said until it was out.
Why did I know that the Cherry Lug was going to come back out and haunt us?
It's going to come back too.
I don't even know where it started at this point.
It started with the Scalia, of course. It's Callie's fault. But
yeah, damn it, Callie.
It was awesome. Thank you. Exactly. He took the kitty wheels off the show, and anyways, getting back into the whole. Let's dig into the job abilities. Like I said, there's some really cool things. I mean, it brings out things like Phalanx, you know, so it reduces your physical damage taken. You got your end spells. You know, it's going to work differently from 11, where you had every single element a spell for that. So if you were going up against something that was weak to fire, you would use End Fire on your blade to do enhanced damage. If you were going up something that was weak to ice, you'd use End Blizzard, things like that. Where at this point, elemental affinities and weaknesses are basically out the window in 14. There's no use for them at this point. So it's basically just going to be an enhanced spell where it's going to get put in enhanced magic damage, probably in fire. Here, I just thought of this, guys. 2 different versions. In fire and in blizzard. Works very similar. And fire gives you enhanced damage, and blizzard gives you MP regen.
Ooh.
There we go.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah, that would be.
That'd be kind of cool.
Something like that, because I mean that's what we're looking at. I mean, and maybe an in thunder to stun.
Or
It could be a bit overpowered, though.
Mm-hmm.
And thunder could I don't know.
But I mean, we've got diminishing returns in this game, so I mean it's not going to work every time, and it's probably going to have a percent chance to proc.
The problem with that, though, is there's certain fights where you need stun for certain attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So it could, like Leviathan Extreme, where you got to stun the ad so he doesn't use dread pull thingy.
Well,
attack.
this could be a time when you would then use in thunder, and you would get on your sword, and then you would attack the guy, and you would stun him, and you could basically use that as a stun lock, just like the paladin has.
Yeah,
I guess.
And if somebody else were using it, it would then also increase the speed of the diminishing returns, and then you was like, "What the hell are you doing? I'm the one who's stunning." And then you get into the fights, and you kick the guy, and everybody just has a bad Christmas. Anyway,
everyone just says get good and
and
horrible and
the entire server hates you.
About the thing that happens. And
okay, we went with that. Took an ugly turn.
That got dark.
Real dark, real fast.
Destroy the Final Fantasy community.
No, damn you in thunder. But
I blame myself.
But I mean, there's some really cool things that could be done with that. I want to know what the community thinks. What do our viewers think? What does everybody listening on the podcast or listening to us live on twitch.tv/PhoenixDownRadio? What do you guys think? You can send us an email at podcast@PhoenixDownRadio.com. You can tweet at us at PHXDNRadio. Or like I said, you can go to our website and fill out the form there, PhoenixDownRadio.com. And like I said, we want to hear your thoughts on this as well, because I mean, it's not just 4 people, sitting in front of their computers, and thinking of all these random things. We want to know what everybody else thinks about it as well. Now, that's not the only thing we're going to be discussing today. Like I said, there were a couple different jobs that were teased during that event back in August. And Sayo is going to be discussing our second one. Why don't you go ahead, Sayo?
Okay. I'm gonna preface this. I had a little bit of a harder time with Blue Mage than Red Mage because the thread wasn't quite as detailed, so I had to kind of work my own magic a little bit here. But Blue Mage is actually a class that I've liked for a long time, but I've never really gotten into. It's really unique. It basically uses enemy abilities as its own magic. So generally speaking, you would get hit by an ability, or a Blue Mage would get hit by an ability, and if it's on the Blue Magic spell list, the Blue Mage learns it and can use it like any other magic. It first made an appearance in Final Fantasy V. The first set of jobs you get when the Tycoon Wind Crystal breaks, and it has made several other appearances as well over the course of the Final Fantasy series. Strago Magus from Final Fantasy VI used lore magic, which functioned pretty much identically to blue magic. In Final Fantasy VII, we had the enemy skill materia.
Yep.
Which could essentially turn anybody into a blue mage. You would basically have that materia equipped, and then that materia individually would learn all of the different things that a blue mage would in other games. So then in Final Fantasy VIII, we have Quistis Stripe, the seed instructor that you get near the beginning of the game.
AKA waifu.
waifu, whatever you want to call her. Klaus has kind of had an obsession with waifu these past 3 days. But,
well, duh. Have you seen her?
She's an amazing waifu.
She would be an amazing waifu. She's got that whip and everything, man.
Wow, I didn't know you were into that, Klaus.
Is she gonna bring the cherry lube at least?
Maybe.
Oh God.
And then there's the one that we've been watching all weekend. Quinaqu.
Well, I actually wanted to go into quizzes for a little bit.
Okay, sorry, didn't mean to jump the gun.
She learned it in a slightly different way. She actually, you could use items dropped by enemies to learn her blue magic, and that was so powerful enough for Fate that it was only usable during her limit break. So, in Final Fantasy IX, we have Queen of Quen, which basically worked a little bit differently again. It almost reminded me of like a Pokemon system where you would basically weaken an enemy, and then she would use a command to eat it.
Nom 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 nom.
She was the best blue mage of all time.
Actually, she was a very good blue mage.
Very, very good.
She was definitely a gourmand. She liked her frogs, and she liked her other enemies to learn stuff.
I can learn a lot of blue magic from them.
You know, actually, when I played through 9, you know, all those many years ago, actually, I one of the things I wanted to do is try and learn all the blue magic, so I did all that. So
yeah, I've been actually trying to help Callie and Co. with some of the blue magic placement. It's mildly successful. So then in 10 we had Kimari Ranso, who was basically, I guess, the closest that you would get to a blue mage.
he could steal abilities from enemies.
Yeah, you can steal abilities from enemies by using the
Lancet?
his Lancet command. And that would actually steal an enemy's ability and fill his limit break, overdrive in that game bar up to be able to use them as Ranso rages. And I wanted to go into a little side story here that I didn't even have in my notes. I was one of those people that didn't really use Himari a lot in my first playthrough. And even when I did, I really didn't use Lancet because, I don't know, I just wasn't really too into him, I guess. But later in the game, without going into too many spoilers, there is a fight where he is alone against 2 other enemies. And the most hilarious thing is, when you haven't used him, you can actually steal multiple abilities from these other enemies and basically keep filling that overdrive up and keep using these skills, and it makes that fight go very, very quickly if you've never used them. So it's kind of like almost a balancing act.
I don't really think you can worry about spoiling that game. It's been out for 15 years now.
Well, you always like to put the spoiler tag. You know, Snape kills Dumbledore, okay.
Oh God! What?
What?
I'm triggered.
Settle down. Anyway.
So, that brings us into Final Fantasy XI, where blue mages were
OP as fuck.
OP as fuck. They could basically fill any role to an extent.
Well, yeah.
And lore-wise, they were special agents of the Imperial Army of Aragon under... Now, here's where I'm going to get into later. Under their commander named Raubon. Spoilers.
Yep.
So, this is where we get interesting. Blue mages in 11 were considered empty vessels to fill themselves with the souls of their enemies, and henceforth their abilities. The thing that kind of got, lore-wise, that was dangerous about this was that you could overflow, and that would essentially turn you into a Psych Flare. And there have been a lot of quests surrounding that. Go terminate this blue mage that's basically exploded.
Huh.
That's why you need the cherry lube.
And that kind of brings us up to 14. I think most people would probably consider it best fit to a DPS role, because I don't think, honestly, that a blue mage could be a multi-role job.
No, not the way this game is designed.
Not the way this game is designed. It would have to be shoehorned into one of the three, and I think it would probably be best shoehorned into a DPS.
Yeah, it would be too squishy to be a tank, and there wouldn't be enough healing abilities. And we already have 3 tanks and 3 healers. We could balance out the DPS a little bit more.
So there was actually
wait, what did I just say? That doesn't make any sense either, does it?
How dare you?
Well, you might get... Chille, go ahead.
The problem with that, though, is the fact that then there'll be... Because we know there's going to be a samurai, at least. All the teasing, there is going to be a samurai.
We think, yes.
Yeah, which would mean that would then league that as either a healing class...
Yeah, that's true, but...
Or a tank class.
Well... We're pretty sure that Samurai is going to be the tank.
To be honest.
Samurai is going to be the tank.
But I guess I could too.
Because that will annoy people, so...
What, Samurai? Which one being the tank would annoy people?
That Samurai will be a tank. I've heard a lot of people get annoyed about that already, if that's the thing.
That makes the most sense, in my opinion. I mean, Samurai in 11 was meant to be a tank. It just ended up getting so many weapon skills that it ended up being a better DPS.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could tank with a Samurai.
Easily. I can see it being 4.0's warrior DPS tank.
That's possible.
Being incredibly overpowered DPS. You have a choice then of having either Paladin or Dark Knight as a main tank, right, maybe, and then have the warrior and Samurai as the off tank as major DPS sort of thing.
All right, well, let's continue to flesh out the blue mage, and we can discuss then the possibility of a tank and a healer role coming up as well.
So I guess the main reason why I would see it as DPS is because generally blue mages wear light armor and wear swords, sometimes shields, not very often. But again, I think these swords would have to be something different than your general broadsword.
Be like a scimitar or something like that?
Like a scimitar, Towar blade, something curved and more unique, I would say. Probably end up similar to Rogue Ninja in that it would be like a dual-wielding weapon that's actually 2 weapons.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. And then they generally wear light armor, so I don't think that they'd be able to really tank. There's a...
What do you think about them maybe taking and using maiming armor?
That could be a thing. The Reddit thread that we took a little bit from does go into a little bit saying, it could be possible that that they kind of split strength and intelligence the way that tanks in 3.2 now split strength and vitality.
It's possible. I don't know. The only reason I mention the possibility of them using maiming armor is for the fact that right now most jobs share the non-job specific armor with another class. The exceptions being ninja and dragoon. I mean, tanks share fending armor. Bard and machinist share aiming armor. Healers share healing armor.
Healer stuff.
And
casters share caster armor.
Yep, but and monks and does anybody share striking armor with monks?
No,
So
striking and maiming are both on their own.
Okay, well maybe they use striking armor then as a possibility as well.
Could be. I think I'd be able to see them using striking armor quicker than I can see them be able to using maiming armor.
I thought that there was another class that used striking armor for some reason.
That's because when
the striking accessories.
Well, when Ninja first came out, they were actually giving the striking armor up to I believe 2.3 gear, like Circus Tower gear and High Allen.
Yeah, they added dex to it. That's right.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, but they still used aiming accessories.
Yeah,
that's right.
They had just gone and added dex to that gear, and that's why it ended up like that.
That's right. So I mean, it'd be a way to share some of the armor that's being utilized by just one class at this point. So.
So there are two major problems that I can see with a blue mage logistically. One, of course, being how do you learn blue magic in this vertically progression-oriented game? Because we pretty much have a set system on how jobs obtain their skills.
Yep,
Generally
definitely.
Speaking, when it's a class, it's okay. Every 2 levels, I get a skill, and then when it becomes a job, then every 5 levels, I do a quest to get a skill. So now with a blue mage, traditionally, I have to get hit by an enemy attack to learn it. Maybe. So one of those things that we have to figure out is how do we reconcile those two paradigms? One of the things that I came up with that I could really see happening is we kind of keep the paradigm that we have now of, okay, yeah, we'll do a quest to get a skill, but we kind of throw it into the theme of the blue mage where you have to get hit by a thing to learn it by...
so you go up against an enemy mob of a certain type and you learn their skill from them in that quest line.
Yeah, in the context of that quest, yeah. Probably in a cutscene, or you don't really take the spirit away from the blue mage, but you kind of
shoehorn it
a little bit to what we can work.
Yeah. You limit the job, and you avoid having too many. You avoid skill bloat. That's the biggest thing you're doing right there, and you avoid the inability for people to be able to learn jobs, because in 11 it was a pain in the ass to learn a lot of blue magic.
Yeah, and we live in a world where that just doesn't work anymore as class design.
Yeah, well, at least in this game it doesn't work, because then you're going to come across a lot of people who are going to be they didn't have a chance to go find this mob over in this zone, or they had really bad luck in getting the skill and they just gave up on it, or they progressed way too past it and they couldn't get it or something like that. Where if you put it in line with the exact job, say your level 30 job is you go work with the goblins and then you end up learning Goblin Rush, or you go to level 50, you go into Mordona and you go into the marshes and you hit a Morball and you learn Bad Breath, something like that, right?
Well, Deltrea in the chat has a really good idea with using the hunting logs.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought about that, but then the problem with making them rely on RNG is the fact that it is RNG, and it's gonna make people it's going to turn them off it, I think, in a lot of ways. This game is not like 11 in any way, shape, or form. A lot of the player base basically demands immediate satisfaction on a lot of things. Better or for worse, that's just kind of how it is. It's a great idea, but the hunting logs at this point, the way people see them is their experience. There are ways to, one, learn the area, the different zones. 2, learn the different types of mobs, and then 3, get that frickin' experience or get those company seals. I mean, good idea though, but like I said, in the context of how you're going to learn it in the game, I think best would be, put it along that linear job line progression, and you go through the job, you learn how to use it in there, similar to the way that the summoner quest worked with the Eggies, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where you basically fought against this Eggie, and you then had access to change your carbuncle into that. Or you had access to that particular Eggie, so your number 1 now is Titan Eggie, I think, or whatever, a Freed Eggie, whatever. You learn each one of those through the progression of the job quest. I think that's probably would work great for Blue Mage. I mean, it still gives it a little bit of the feel, but I wonder if the purists aren't going to call it another summoner.
I also expect them to use the move during the fight also. So you have to endure the attack itself while you're doing the fight. That way you are still learning it like you used to, but it's not RNG.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, depending on the move, and that kind of leads us straight into the other problem. A lot of the abilities that the 14 monsters use right now, they don't really do anything interesting. So we have to kind of give the Blue Mage their own version to kind of help it out a little bit and give the class some flesh it out a bit.
Some panache, a little bit of its own feel.
Yeah.
And like I said, again, that's going to lead me to think people are going to call this Summoner 2.0. Sadly. Which is probably what we're going to end up seeing, though.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. But the way I could see it is perhaps because we have better control of the Aether, we somehow enhance the abilities we get hit by the monster with.
Echo, basically?
Yeah. But,
or we
Blue Magic.
Echo Blue Magic. There we go. That's a thing. It's canon. Let's use it. you heard it here, Koji. We'll let you use it. Actually, it sounds pretty interesting. I mean, I think it could be a way to bring those jobs into this game and make it so they'll fit within the very tight Trinity DPS tank healer paradigm. So, what does everybody else think about that? Send us an email, podcast@beingsorradio.com. You know how to do it. I don't have to repeat it every time, do I? We'll do it every once in a while, but we don't have to do it all the time. Biff Tech, interesting idea. Make it for items that give abilities drop from monsters and be crafted. Yeah, that could be very expensive. And again, it's not something that we shouldn't put spells behind a guild cost in this particular game. Again, 11 had that in spades. I mean, you go try and buy Utsusemi Ni or Ichi off of the auction house, and it costs you millions. I mean, getting those high-level spells like that off the auction house and having to learn all of them like that, or you had to go quest for them and go do your BCNM and
swap to dispel.
Oh God. Don't get me started on all my spells. I had to do the BCNMs and get a chance at a 5% drop or something like that. But yeah, this game really shies away from that. I mean, it's a cool idea, but like I said, I think that they're probably going to go a different route. But like I said, great idea. Keep more of those ideas coming to us. Send us an email or tweet it to us or whatever. We'll read it out loud. So we want to hear you guys' opinions. Now, like I said, let's go ahead and flesh out, that's 2 DPS classes. We didn't put as much thought into these two, but, Samurai was one that was also thrown out there. Now, that's one that, I think most people are feeling that's going to be the tank class.
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I see that's probably something that we're going to see as maybe we're going to get it through the damn it, now you got me Alamigo. There we go. I know that's where the monks come from, but maybe there's something on the other side of Alamigo, like a faction opposite of the monks that we don't know about yet.
Well, I think if anything, it'd be the faction opposite the ninjas, wouldn't it?
In Doma?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is no Doma anymore. But,
well, it's still there. It's just occupied by the Garleans.
No, dude, they leveled it to the ground. Anybody that was still alive came over here.
Are we sure about that?
Pretty sure.
I mean,
what if that small faction is just hiding somewhere?
I mean, they could always pull something out if they wanted to. Oh yeah, we've been over here all this time, blah blah blah. But
Biff Tech in the chat, we were actually talking about those types of things for Red Mage, making it a kind of a night like that where you can get like and fire, and thunder and blizzard and things like that. If you want, you can check out the podcast when we release that and kind of hear what we discuss with what we think Red Mage might be. But good ideas. We appreciate you popping those out for us. Anyway, continuing on the whole samurai thing. You were saying, Sayo?
It's already got a range attack. We've got, guild toss, coin toss, whatever have you. You could basically do anything you wanted with Tachi skills and make them combo, make them enmity. You've got the Hasso stance from 11 for kind of like a Berserk analog. You've got Seigan for like a defensive stance.
Yeah, I think the way that Samurai was
a lot of room.
Yeah.
A lot of room to work with for a tank.
Yeah, I think the way that Samurai was in 11 would most easily transition over, minus the weapon skill portion of it. Or use. I mean, they could tweak that somehow, make them into weapon skills versus limit breaks.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's all going to be like combos.
Yeah, exactly. So they're gonna combo off of each other instead of using them as weapon skills and limit breaks.
Right.
And maybe make parry relevant. Thanks, Biff.
Yeah, we still have yet to actually get a parry tank.
Well, see, we thought that warrior might be a parry tank, or even dark might get some parry off of that, being they don't have a sword and board. That they've just got a large weapon that they would use to parry an attack off on, but like Luna.
I felt it was relevant.
But so Samurai we think is probably going to be a thing as well. What about a healer?
See, I kind of think instead of being a DPS, I think Red Mage will take the role as a healer / DPS.
God, I hope not.
Oh God.
No, but I think it'll be. Do
you want to see Klaus cry?
Because that will make Klaus cry.
I'm just thinking the fact that if Blue Mage is the DPS, Samurai is the tank, that leaves one job, and they won't have more than 3 jobs in the expansion. This is Square Enix.
Gotti in the chat just said Dancer healer. I would lose my freaking shit.
Dancer would be a good one.
Added. Oh my God!
Dancer in 11 was
mascot. Mascot healer.
Dancer in 11 was actually a pretty good healer.
Yeah, that was a fun class to play there. So
that's a possibility. Thank you, Scotty. Appreciate that.
I would lose my shit.
I mean, the other one that's been thrown around is the possibility of Chemist.
Chemist would be interesting if it were implemented in the same way that it was in 10.2 with the gun shooting potions at your allies.
Yeah,
something like that.
I know they're going to try and get away from something that's consumable based, so they're going to have something where it's just going to be like an infinite amount of stuff that shoots at you, I'm assuming, or that you throw, or that goes to them, but I mean, because Dancer and Chemist have both been, healers that have been used in past Final Fantasy games. Astro is one that was kind of really out there, and I think that one has gotten a lot of good traction from people learning to play it really well. So we'll have to see what they can come up with. But, they said that they don't necessarily want to put out more than 3 jobs, but you know what? We did get 4 jobs between 2.0 and 3.0. Because Ninja was released midstream.
Well, they flat out said, "Hey, we're never doing that again."
But doesn't mean
don't expect that ever again.
But that doesn't mean they're not going to give us 4 fleshed out jobs right at the beginning of the expansion.
That's true.
They said they're not going to release one midstream. They didn't say they're not going to release 4. It's not likely, but I'm just saying. All I know is I just hope that Red Mage is not the healer, because that would make me cry.
What if... Let's put on a tin hat. What if 4.0 comes and they're just like, we're going to add 8 new classes to the game. Enjoy.
That would be a little bit extreme, and I don't know how good they're going to be fleshed out. Especially since the 4.0 is scheduled to come out in summer of 2017. If the patch cycle is held true.
Just think about how game-changing that would be.
That would be awesome. I mean, it almost doubled the amount of jobs. I mean, that'd be 2 tanks, 2 healers, 4 DPS.
Let's break the patch cycle down here for a minute, though, because we got... Okay, so 3.1 came out in November, and we've had 11 weeks of that, and then we went to 3.2. So then let's fast forward 3 months, go to May, end of May, maybe beginning of June for 3.3. 3 months after that would be September, 3.4. 3 months after that would be December, January for 3.5.
So we're looking at about April, May, possibly June for 4.0.
Yep, that checks.
So you heard
Especially
it.
with FanFirst being this year and early next year.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's exact same time frames. I can almost guarantee that we're gonna hear something about 4.0 in Vegas. We're probably gonna find out.
And another reason why we have to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So help us out, people, please.
Let me be the one to say they will not have a FanFest for no reason. They did not have one last year because they had nothing to talk about.
Yep.
So they are not having it for no reason, folks.
It's gonna be huge. It's coming. So help us get there, guys. If you have a couple of bucks to spare, please see it in your heart. You can click on the donate link below the stream here. Couple bucks helps. Every little bit helps. If you want to help send us out there. We do some random stuff on the stream as well. I've got an open thing going where if somebody donates $100 in one shot, I will Fantasia into whatever race you see fit, and you can choose what it looks like. Throwing that out there. Sayo took advantage of it.
Dress up a Klaus.
I did.
Sayo was the first to do it. You can be the next.
Like this.
Like that. Thanks, Chille. You and your $5 donations, Chille. I swear to God, PayPal loves you because they probably take half of those things away. No, it's not quite that bad, but still.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, anyway, getting back to our little discussion. I mean, we don't know exactly what's going on in Yoshi's head. I mean, he really holds his cards close to his chest on a lot of things until he's ready to spill the beans.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. We may get I'm hoping we get 4 because it's good balance, because it keeps the ratios pretty close at that point. So, that, like I said, I would really cry if we had a Red Mage healer.
I would say at this point, Klaus, don't hold your breath. Just be cautiously optimistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Class, I can see it being a Red Mage healer, but I can see it being like a lot of the end game content where the healer will be able to do DPS at the end game more than actually healing.
I'm not a healer though, man. Ask Vox.
Really not.
I have a white mage to 60. I am a mentor, but I suck at healing. I'm not gonna lie. I am a Terabad healer.
Well, he'll be the first
I was gonna
close
say
range
you're not
healer.
that bad, but that'd be a lie. And I'm sorry, Klaus.
No, it's fine. Anyway,
No, like this.
thank you, Nick Nar. Appreciate it.
Thank
We're-
you,
we're
not Chille.
Not Chille. We know it's you, Nick Nar. Chille and not Chille going back and forth. We love you guys.
Are we gonna have our own? Are we gonna have our own number wars now?
Who wants to be on Team Palindrome for Phoenix Down Radio? Oh, anyway, what do you guys want to see for jobs coming forward? Like I said, send us an email, tweet at us, let us know. We really want to hear what you want to say, and we'll talk about it in the next show. So just let us know. Send us an email. We really want those emails, people. We haven't gotten any.
Yeah, we want to hear from you guys.
I'm sorry. I'm going to get on my soapbox here, guys. You know, we put all this fun stuff, together. We want to, we actually have a segment set aside where we want to sit down and read user emails and read comments and Twitter posts, but we just haven't gotten any. So I'm asking you guys, please go to podcast at phoenixdownradio.com. Send us an email. Ask us any question you want. Tell us your ideas for a show, a segment you want to hear. Say that Klaus is a bad and he should feel bad. I don't care. Just let us know. We'll read it.
Yeah, let us know.
Nick Nar, it doesn't necessarily have to pertain to the game. We'd prefer that it's Final Fantasy related in general. Right now, the format of our show, we are a Final Fantasy 14 centered podcast at this point, but I do see down the road perhaps expanding that and covering more Final Fantasy general related news. So, because we got 15 coming down the pipe, we've got World of Final Fantasy, we've got the Final Fantasy 7 remake coming out. I could see this group being, kind of Final Fantasy subject matter experts, so to speak, and being a very Final Fantasy centered podcast. So that's kind of what I picture for us. And yes, I'm tall, but you know what? It just makes me that much taller. Yes, and Final Fantasy Explorers. And the taller you are, the more you have to listen, right, Vox?
What the fuck is that emote that you bow? I cannot find it for the life of me. Or that you get on your knees and you bend over like a bitch.
Grovel. It's grovel.
Is it grovel?
It's grovel.
Here. Look, guys.
You've got
Please.
Luna groveling, for crying out loud.
Please send in the emails.
Saved.
That's been screenshotted, and this is a thing, people. Oh man, we're bads and we should feel bad. So
Yeah, I mean that's something I don't even do often, and I've even stooped low enough to do it. So please, something, guys.
thank you guys. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for listening to us. We appreciate it. And yes, it did look like he was eating the
Now just
orange in
send
his
us
mouth.
emails, damn it.
Yes. I will be sad if I don't have an email to read on the 26th. All right. Now, I don't have a good segue to go into this next segment, but it's a new segment that we started last show. We're going to talk about something in the game, a little bit more on how do I learn something. And we call it, interestingly enough, how do I... ... And this week, Sayo was kind enough to take over the reins on coming up with something to discuss. So again, I turn it over to Sayo.
Okay, so last show, I actually had a few questions pertaining to 3.2. People that have been gone from the game for a while, and 3.2 is kind of a larger patch. How do I catch up? What is there to do? How do I get current? So I figured best thing I could do. I've usually myself been current in this game for every patch, so I went out and I asked around and, asked about some concerns about what people were lacking. And this is kind of what I came up with. How do I catch up in 3.2? So the first thing that you should know when coming back to any MMO, this doesn't even apply to 14, is that you're going to need to do a bit of research on some class changes, job changes, whatever have you. This is not a single-player game. Things are going to change, and they're going to change dramatically in some cases. So the first thing you're going to want to do is do research on how your job has changed.
And let me interject real quick. Square Enix does a great job of summarizing all this in their patch notes.
Yeah, they're very, very transparent.
So what you can do is, every time a new patch, it doesn't have to be a full 0.1 patch. Going from 2.1 to 2.2 or 3.1 to 3.2. When they go from to the incremental patches as well, those all have very detailed notes as well. So you can go out to the lodestone and you can look up previous patches and catch up on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but
no, you're fine. Any interjections here? This is a very free-flowing. I'm sure you can tell with my notes. They're very stream of consciousness. So anything that you have to say, just feel free to interject. So. Personally, what I find helpful, I find YouTube rotation guides pretty helpful for when I don't really exactly understand how some abilities fit together into a rotation. That's a good baseline. Once you have that good baseline, do some practicing on a dummy, figure out, what your DPS is, or in the case of a tank, how your combos flow. In the case of a healer, you're probably going to have to do more, up close and personal things with actual content, because I really don't know how to test that in a vacuum. But once you've got a basic idea of what's going on, then you can ask FC members, friends to help you out on the finer points. If nobody there can help you out, maybe Reddit can help you out if you have some, more pointed mathematical issues going on that you really want to, hey, is this better, or should I sub this, or, this, that, or the other thing.
Well, here's the easiest thing. With a vertical progression game, the best thing you can do is if the number next to the eye level is higher, in general, you want to go for that. But like I said, there are two to three different paths that you can go up to increase the level of your gear. So let's say you're coming into the game from you stopped at 3.0, so you got 3.1 and 3.2 to go through. So at 3.0, you're probably sitting at around 170 to 180 at that point, if I had to venture a guess. Now, like I said, right now we go all the way up to 245 for our weapon, but there's a number of steps in between, and there's a lot of different ways to get that content, which is kind of where I think Sayo was going on that. You want to run that content. Run some of the older content, because that's what it's there for. It's there to get you gear. It's there to get you tomes to buy gear from vendors, and it's there to help you progress. And the cost of that gear goes down substantially when you go into the next patch. So what used to cost us a lot of esoteric tomes last patch is very cheap now. Sorry, I know
it's very cheap now. It's very cheap now, and more importantly, the older tomestones, guys, they lose their weekly lockouts after a certain point.
Yep. So right now, esoteric tomes are unlocked. You can get as many tomes as you want per week. There's still, you can only hold 2,000 maximum. Same with poetics. You still get poetic tomes. You no longer get law tomes. Law tomes are no longer able to be used or gotten in the game. In fact, you can turn those over and convert them into esoteric tomes. So at some point when you're low on ESO tomes, take your current law tomes, go to, I believe it's one of the girls in Idleshire.
I believe the exchange actually happens in Mordona.
Oh, it's still back in Mordona. Okay, because that's where it was always in the past. But convert those into the newer Tomestone, and that way you can use them for your new gear. But right now, esoteric tomes flow very, very freely. You can get them from Heavensward hunts. You can get them from doing your daily roulettes. You can get them from blowing your nose, taking a dump, basically. Not quite that bad, but you can get them doing almost anything in this game. Just go ahead and do the stuff. I mean, the problem you're going to be encountering is you're going to want to jump in and do the new dungeons. You're going to want to go out and do the anti-tower. You're going to want to go and do Alexander Midas, but your eye level is not quite where it needs to be. So that's why you need to run that older content and get all those tomes, buy the gear. You know, because the ESO gear right now is eye level 200, and if you run Void Arc, you also get item level 200 gear, and a chance, and you get a drop that you can then convert one of your esoteric items into 210 gear.
Right. So this actually happens every Void Arc now. It's no longer once a week, because before it used to be once a week. Now that the max item level has gone up beyond 210, Square Enix is like, go have fun. You know, go do this content. And they've actually added another weekly limitation for Void Arc, which we'll get into a little later, involving materia. But, I've had a few questions about, like, specific values, I guess.
Basically, Precursor Swag, I'm sorry to interrupt, Precursor Swag in the chat is basically saying exactly what we're trying to say. Get your SO, run Void Arc, get your item to upgrade to 200 SO armor, plus get the 200 Void Arc armor, and then you can start doing, once you get your eye level high enough, at that point you should be getting close to that 200, maybe squeaking it closer to 210, and then you can start doing Sephiroth X, and you can start doing the other dungeons, and you can start getting more lore tomes. Like I said, we're getting it from other sources as well. So I mean, you don't necessarily have to do it through the dungeon progression. Like I said, Nick Nar in the chat was asking how many lore tomes can you get from hunts right now. You used to not be able to get the top level tome from hunts, but they added those to the new 3.0 Heavensward hunts. So the level 60 A ranks in the new zones now drop 10 lore tomes if you get maximum threat, maximum points against one of those, do enough damage to them. And if you get maximum on an S rank, you can get up to 30 tomes. I mean, that's like running a dungeon, for crying out loud.
Yeah. So the hunts, they don't take very long. So if you can kind of get into a groove with them,
you can cap in a matter of a couple hours if you get into a train.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Other shows have talked about it in the past, so I'm just going to kind of drop the bomb here. Like it or hate it, when it comes to hunts, guild work is a thing that exists.
Phoenix Unrated does not endorse or talk about... You know where I was going with that. We do not endorse the use of third-party tools, but they exist.
They exist, people use them, and they make hunt mobs melt because they get everybody on the server gathered in one place in a matter of seconds. It's kind of ridiculous.
Plus, a lot of party finders throw up hunt parties, so you can actually go in and find them that way as well. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get access to these items. You just need to go out there, do the research, and do it. SE's not going to hand you all this stuff. You still need to do a little work, even though it's a lot easier than it used to be.
Unless you come to Ultros, then at certain times of the day, the hunt monsters just walking around.
Yeah, it depends on the time of day. I mean, and it's generally going to be the overnights because Ultros, that's an NA server. So between probably a midnight Pacific and 6 a.m. Pacific, I'd say that 6-hour time frame is probably going to be the slowest times for any of the NA servers.
I know that reminds me of a time that I was in the hinterlands and Stolas spawned, and I literally sat there for 6 hours watching him. No one cared. I shouted him several times in different links. Yeah, for 6 hours. No one.
6 real life hours.
6 real life hours. No one touched him.
Was this 3.1?
No, this was actually like a month ago.
Well, yeah, then it was.
Then it was 3.1.
Was it 3.1? Well,
that's why.
I don't know what patch we're in.
Because at that point, there were, hunts kind of go in these cycles where they're really hot and then they die off, and then they're really hot again and then they die off because Square Enix changes the rewards you can get from them, or enhances them so it makes them relevant within the game. They give all these tomes. People didn't need the tomes at the end of 3.1.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but I'd see other hunts pop and die.
I can actually give you a reason for that. At the end of 3.1, the reason why people didn't care about any Heavensward hunts was because esoterics were not used in any relic quests.
It was all law.
It was all law. It was all poetics, which made the old world hunts very, very valuable because everything they gave you was going to be used for something.
Yep, because poetics and law.
Chille says, "I am the law."
Chille. All right, so that's basically the start of it. So at that point, there's other things that you can do on a daily basis as well. We've got things like our daily Beastman Tribe quests.
Yep. So I actually wanted to take a little bit of time and go into materia, actually, because for the first time, that's actually kind of relevant to progression, so you want to keep that in the back of your mind.
Psst, that's why I mentioned the Beastman Tribes.
So there are plenty of ways to get them. One of them being these Beastman Tribes. They really didn't have much of a niche before in this game. They were just kind of there for the lore freaks, like, myself or Sarah.
Hey, I maxed out on them right away.
They didn't do anything, though. And now they do.
You got mounts and minions, dude.
Okay, Glamour's the real in-game.
There you go.
I will give you that. But, admittedly, I'm one of those scrubs that didn't do any of them. So
get good.
That's something that I've been catching up on myself this past few weeks. Because the high-level Beastman Tribe quests now give you, I don't know, what is it, like a tier 4 materia of your choosing?
You get
or how does that work, class?
What it is the top 3 quests for each of the normal ARR Beast Tribe quests gives you a random choice of 5 different tier 4 materia.
Okay. Are they main parameters, off parameters?
It's main and secondaries. It's main and secondaries, all DOH, DOW. So generally it's like going to be 2 or 3 main stat materia, and then 2 or 3 secondary stat materia.
Okay.
And it's random, so it chooses between strength, dex, vitality, piety, mind,
intelligence.
Yep.
So that's the main 6.
Yep. So those are all going to be the blues, and then you've got the secondary stats, and it's going to go through you got the red ones, you got the blue, the purple ones, and you got the yellow ones. So crit, det, and accuracy for red, skill speed and spell speed for purple, and parry for yellow.
So
that's a chance.
Pretty much it for the Beast Tribe quest, I think, right?
You can get up to 12 tier 4 materia a day. So you get 12 chances, or you get 12 Beast Tribe quests that you can do a day, split amongst both the original ARR and the Heavensward tribes. So you can either choose to do some in Heavensward, some over there. But like I said, if you do everything with the ones that in like the why are their names blanking me right now? You do it's like the Amalja, the Sylphs, the Sahagin, and then the Kobolds. You get up to 12 materia.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Plus, also once a week, you can when you run Void Arc, you're gonna get something called a mock matter. Or Machi, or whatever. I think it's Mach, isn't it? How it's pronounced?
I don't know. The Final Fantasy community goes back and forth with this. I'm just saying Machi because I'm lazy.
Sarah would be able to tell us what it is. But this is why we need a Sarah in our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, come back to us.
What Scotty typed in chat there.
Without you.
It's either a mock or machi or whatever. However the hell that word is pronounced, it's a
mochi.
A matter.
It's mochi.
Okay, you get mochi now, so you get ice cream. you get this.
No, you just get.
I want mochi ice cream.
Let's just all agree
I
it's
just
a word.
want mochi. I just give me freaking mochi.
You just want the pounded rice paper type stuff.
Yeah, give that to me.
Okay, you give me all your tier 5 materia then, and I'll give you all the mochi.
I don't have any tier 5 materials.
Well then,
so fuck off.
Well, then it sucks to be you, doesn't it?
I has one. I'll give you one.
Well, you have to come to Hyperion first.
You gotta come to Hyperion, and then I'll give you the mochi. Anyway,
turn me into a kid.
Once,
the old one.
Once a week, you get one of those, and you can turn it into the Gobbies in Idleshire, and they'll give you a tier 5 materia of your choice. As well as, now then, it gives us a reason to go back into Diadem. Well, this has always been a reason to go into Diadem, but they reduced the costs of what... You can always buy materia from the Materia's trader, either in your housing zones or at the airship docks in... what's it place? The pillars there?
The pillars, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But they
reduced the cost significantly.
The cost significantly over 50%. They went from 45 to 20.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lot cheaper. So you can get tier 5 materia for 20 of the brass spoils. So you can get just about 5 per stack.
Yeah, this is any tier 5 materia.
Yep, your choice.
There's no restriction.
All you need to do is you need to go farm those spoils. And how do you farm the spoils? You go into Diadem, you turn in the gear, and there you go. You stack them up, you get your materia, you're a happy camper. You can either put it in your armor, or you can sell it. Because here's why materia is important. Yes, you can put it in your armor. You always have been able to put it in the crafted armor, but you can now put it in raid armor. The new tier stuff, 220, 230, and 240, all has materia sockets. Wow.
Now, one thing to remember with that, you cannot overmeld these pieces of gear.
You can only overmeld crafted materia, or crafted gear, but you cannot overmeld raid gear. Yeah, Luna, fuckity fuck, right?
Yeah.
That said, though. I mean, it's still a pretty big increase.
Scotty, I'm not sure that I quite agree with you saying materia is a crutch. It's a way to enhance the way you want to build your character. Now, granted, yes, it's the illusion of choice, but it is still the choice whether or not I want to put in crit, det, skill speed, or accuracy in a piece. It's my choice, and if even if it's against what might some people might say is the best choice. Maybe in this case, I don't have all 220 gear, all 230 gear. Maybe I'm still building up and my accuracy is short. So I take and put in an accuracy materia to hit that cap so I'm not missing anything. You can always remove materia. So I like this idea. It's good stuff. I think it's great. It sucks that you lose the materia, and I mean all of the materia in a piece when you have it unmelded, but you can still customize it. And it does give you the choice of how you want to do it. So that way when you have all the pieces you need, at that point, then you can maximize and put in the specific material you need. And the great thing is, it's all 100% chance to go in. Because you cannot overmeld. It's always guaranteed to go in.
Also, if you do plan to use materia with the new law equipment, do remember that when you do upgrade to 240 in the future,
it's gone.
Savage. What?
It's gone. The material. It's because it's a new piece. It's a brand new piece.
Yeah. So just remember that.
Something that I've been doing, not all the time, not with all of my pieces, but something that you can do is just kind of use junk materia for the lesser pieces, and then if you plan on upgrading them, then you can, put the real stuff, put the tier 5s to cap sets, and after you've upgraded the piece to the, to the finality that you're actually going to use it. Obviously not something that you have to consider, but if you're, low on cash or you don't have a lot of time to invest into getting tier 5s, something to think about.
Yeah, at least it's an increase to help you out. And like I said, this isn't something that you need to do if you're not going to do anything in the end game. The gear as it stands is more than adequate to be able to run everybody through dungeons without any issue. Where this really comes into play is the people who are min-maxing their stats to try and get every little bit of DPS out of Savage Midas right now.
Which I might add, that was cleared.
Yes, it was.
Not so long ago.
Just this past week, I believe. Elysium's group cleared it, and I believe it was in half the time that it took to clear Gordius Savage.
Oh no, it was much, much, much less than half the time.
I thought I read it was at half the time to the day almost.
Was it?
That's what I was reading on it. Regardless, it's a lot faster, so it's, we just got into it as far as for our raid group, but, it's something that, they're doing, so, I mean, it appears that it's not as difficult as what the challenges Gordius really gave us, so, I mean, that's kind of neither here nor there. It's kind of we're sidetracking again. This will be a discussion we can have, for a future episode, but...
For sure.
Anyway, we were talking about catching up and stuff like that. I kind of talked about it in chat, and we talked about it just slightly in here. The other way you can get tomes is with these hunts. Hunts give, like I said, they give now lore tomes. Like, they never gave the top end tomes before. So it's what I actually used to cap, along with running the feast when it came out this week. I capped running those two things as well as a couple of expert roulettes, and I was done.
It's very important to know, actually, too, that when you're doing these hunts, they also give you the older tomes too, so that you can kind of work two angles of this at one time.
Yep.
You can get a little bit of your precursor swag while you're gearing up to do some of the expert roulettes to get your actual swag.
Yep. Because, I mean, as you're getting...
It ends up being a very quick process.
Sorry, you kind of cut out there a little bit there, Sayo.
It ends up being a very quick process when you look at it like that.
Yep, because you can actually double up. Sorry, I cut you off that time. You can kind of double up because you can upgrade the cheaper stuff with your esotomes while you're saving up for the more expensive stuff that's higher eye level, and it really jumps you up that much faster. So that's basically the gist of how you catch up in a new patch. I mean, this doesn't necessarily just apply to 3.2, though some of the examples we gave you were more specific, but in general, it works the same when you go to 3.3. 3.3 is a catch-up patch. That's when they're going to add the next Void Arc segment in there, which is going to get people easy ways to get more I-220 gear, I'm guessing. Maybe 230, who knows. It's going to be another way to get that, and maybe give us something in Diadem at that point to help us get more materia or higher eye level gear from that. So each different patch has catch up. They have catch up mechanics, so you can get further along and advance into the end game storyline if you so choose.
Mm-hmm.
Chille, you've been quiet. What do you think?
Yeah, to be honest, I just agree with everything you've said. That's why I've been so quiet. I've had no real opinion on it, really. I agree that so many ways this game is amazing for catching up, because every patch that comes out, they always make the previous equipment much easier to get. That's one thing that you could never say is bad about this game.
And the nice thing is it's not necessarily irrelevant either, because if you get to be I-210, you can run all of the dungeons in the past as well as current. And I'm talking dungeons, not raids now. So
210 will get you through normal Midas.
Oh yeah,
Easily.
Yeah, but when I might say raids, I'm talking more the savage versions of the raids. But yes,
I'm not good.
But yes,
Chille, I'm not either.
200. I think you only need to be I-200 to get through normal mode of Midas, correct?
I think so, yeah.
So,
Which I still need to do, by the way.
well, look up a party finder or ask somebody in the group.
Or ask me, ask Klaus, ask anybody that we know. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, we still need. I'm still gearing up and trying to get some of those 220 accessories. So.
Hell, I did it with Duty Finder.
I wouldn't always recommend that, but it's an option.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, so I mean, it's once you get to the proper eye level, it's something that can be easily done. So just use the mechanics that are given to you in the game, do a little bit of research, and you'll easily be able to get caught back up and be able to do the relevant content again. So I hope that, I know we kind of got off on some tangents in those conversations, but I hope that this was another helpful segment to those of you who have kind of been taking some time off of the game. Maybe after 3.0 dropped, you got through and it's like, damn it, this freaking Savage raid is bullshit, and I'm done with this. I know a lot of people did that, and then they came back for 3.2, and they had a lot of catching up. So I hope this is helpful to you. If there's something else that you guys want to know about, how do I do this in the game? I mean, we can do things like, how do I gather? How do I craft? We could possibly do how do I make money, but that's kind of a really going to depend on your server and a lot of different factors. But, send us an email, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. Luna's already ahead of me on that. Let us know. We want to know what you guys want to hear about and what you think of the things that we've been talking about so far.
Yeah, this past segment was was viewer inspired, so let's keep that coming.
Yeah, we thank you for that. So with that,
real quick, before we actually drop the ball on how do I want to make a quick public service announcements.
Yes.
Tanks, I'm looking at you.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
Your primary stat now is always going to be Vite. If you have not done so already, please stop by your friendly neighborhood grain company quartermaster and pick up a Keeper Sim and change all those bonus stats over. Change all those fancy strength accessories that you got in 3.0. Please change them over to Vitality, because damage-wise, they now weigh the same as strength, and they actually have the added benefit of giving you extra HP. So please, 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 biggest change that, somebody that might not have been here for a while, might not have been expecting, that's kind of where the paradigm is at the moment.
The more you know. Star.
I actually started getting my Vit gear before the patch changed.
A lot of people did, but like Sayo said, if you've been away for a while, you might not realize that. So, thank you, Sayo. I did it.
Thank you.
I did so good too. I did so good.
You did so well. You did so well.
The names are similar. They start with S-E.
S-E-Y, I'll even give you. But,
Anyway, initially we were going to do a little bit of discussion on the new Developer's Diary Part 2 video that came out from YouTube. If you haven't had a chance to go watch it, we did link a post to it on phoenixdownradio.com, so you can go out and check it out. I really don't think there's a lot that we can really discuss on that. Do you guys kind of agree on that?
Yeah.
It's
It's an interesting video to watch. So if you haven't watched it, definitely head over to the website and watch it.
Yep. I mean, like I said, I did enjoy it, but like I said, we're going to see if we can get some discussion because we have no Sarah, we have no lore segment this week. I'm sorry. I know. No booing, please.
There is no Sarah story time.
No story time with Sarah today, but he will be returning, and we're going to make sure he has something super special next time. But I thought, maybe we'll discuss this, but I watched it a couple of times, and I'm like, yeah, no, I can't stretch this out.
There's really nothing that we can do with it.
But like I said, it was really cool. The things that we learned about is it's not always JP to English translation-wise. A lot of things come. The transfer of data flows both ways. Some things come from English and are translated out to all the other languages. Some things come from Japan and are translated to the other languages. So there's a lot of things that are going both ways. That and Koji is fucking smart. Well, we all knew that though. But he is a fucking genius. He came up with what, 4 languages? Dravinian, Nas, Sylphic, and smart as a Koji fox. Chille. But yeah, I mean, he is amazing, and that's why I really hope to meet him at FanFest. If anything, I would be, I would schoolgirl at that, definitely. So
there's a very good possibility, I think, of us being able to,
I think he would just be awesome to talk with. Well,
sure would.
I think that's really going to do it for this episode then, guys. Chille, as our guest, do you have any shout-outs that you want to throw out there?
I would like to make a shout-out to this random group of people that I've not really heard of before, but I want to say a shout-out to Phoenix Down Radio for having me on.
You're welcome to come back and join us anytime, Chille. We love you.
Thank you so much.
To answer a question in chat, if you pay $100, yes.
You can make Klaus whatever you want.
I want to point out that pretty much just goes for Klaus unless anybody else wants to throw the gauntlet on the table, which I'm not doing right now. But
well, Luna Fantasia's every single day.
It seems like it, but yeah. So like I said, I mean, for cost of Fantasia, she'll change.
No, I will not. Shut up! Don't spread these lies. I'm feeling like this for a month again.
Anyway,
this is why
on my Makote.
I had the cover my ass right out of the gate because I knew this was going to happen.
Yep, that's true. Yep, it's not thrown out there for Sayo, for Sarah, for Luna. They did not say that they would do this, or even for Chille. Nobody else. Yeah. That's something that I, Klaus, have thrown out there. That if any donor donates $100 in one shot, I will Fantasia into something of their choice.
And don't forget, any donation of $50 or more, you get a free commission from me.
Yep, and that doesn't have to be in one shot. That's up. Once you hit a cumulative donation of $50. So I think everybody who's donated at least $50 has gotten their commissions now. Is that correct? Is that right, Luna?
Well, other than Chille, we're working on Chille's.
Okay, so Chille's is the last one in progress. So we've got room, people. The queue is open. So if you want to throw those donations in as well, Luna will work with you to get a custom commission of whatever you want in the game. Your character, your
my way.
friends,
or not even in the game. Well, you can have I can draw Deadpool for you. I can draw Spider-Man. I can draw your furry porn of
that does
choosing whatever.
We want to go into that.
Digital style.
Digital style.
A commission meaning a picture of your choice. You commission her to draw something for you.
Yes, anything that you would like.
And yes, Biff, that did escalate quickly.
Well, I am at $150, so I think.
Hey, if you give us a subject and don't give us a script, it will generally escalate very quickly.
Jordan, I thought we already didn't Luna get in touch with you already? Luna, I think you need to work with Nick Nar.
If you haven't told me what you wanted me to draw, I don't know. I don't read mine.
Because Nick Nar, yes, you are at that rank. I know that, so you can go ahead and send Luna an email or a message on Twitch or Twitter or something.
Furry porn, just go ahead and PM me. We don't have to let anyone else know.
It'll be your little secret.
I won't tell them it's for you.
So, with that thrown out there, like I said, we're trying not to beg. We appreciate all the people who can donate to us. It helps us to get out there, get our names out there in the community, and we really appreciate it. So, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Thank you. Chille, did you want to throw any other shout-outs?
Not really, to be honest. Thank you. Oh, actually, no, Evolved Male. I'd like to give a shout to him.
Good old Samus Rageborn. He is a good guy. Definitely one to follow as well. Because I know you always like to shout him out on your podcast. I was actually trying to hint you to go shout out your podcast, PlayStation Unchained, excuse me.
PlayStation Unchained, but yeah. I'm weird like that.
Yeah, do that thing.
When is FanFest? It is in October, the 15th weekend of the 15th?
Whatever that whatever that Friday and Saturday, I believe.
Let me look here. Bring up my calendar. It is the 13th through the 15th of October, I believe. Thursday through Saturday.
Guys, there's a giant spider on my wall. I'm freaking out.
The 13th is only going to be a registration day.
Call Chris.
As long as you can actually get in there at some point, don't freak out too much. But the Friday and Saturday are going to be the major days. I would imagine that there was a big expansion announcement that would happen Friday morning.
Yep.
So,
also, when Phoenix Down Radio gets there, we will be podcasting from there. It may not be a live podcast, but we will podcast from there, and it will go up we may broadcast it on Twitch, or we may just go directly to podcast and YouTube. So, but look for that once we get out there. So.
If I do get to FanFest, can I pester you to be a guest on it?
We'll definitely be guests with you.
Yeah.
We're going to try and talk to as many people as we can. We're probably going to have to pre-record some of the stuff for this one. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Do any of the rest of you guys have any shout-outs that you want to throw out there? Personal plugs.
Again, Callie, thank you so much for plastering our names across your stream. As a magnificent event as that is, it's definitely an honor to be recognized for, I guess, just being us, but thank you. You're awesome. Transgender Michigan is awesome. You're Not Alone is awesome. And I guess we'll see you shortly.
Yeah. Yeah, Luna, you want to throw out any personal plugs or any shout-outs?
If you guys want to check out my art, go on over to my DeviantArt, LunaVox, FFXIV, all one word. You can check out my art there. Decide if you want to commission me or not. Follow me on Twitter, Luna_Vox. Follow me on Twitch, Luna_Vox.
Awesome.
And follow Phoenix Down Radio.
Yep, at PHXDN Radio at Twitter. Follow us here at twitch.tv/Phoenix Down Radio. If you want to follow my Twitter, I am Klaus_FFXIV. That's KLAUSS_FFXIV. You'll probably see me running a lot, especially coming up now with the weather getting nice. If you want to maybe help get motivated that way, I'm doing a lot more runs. And also, I tweet a lot of recipes and sushi, Japanese and food in general. Sound about right?
Yeah. Usually I'm with him. So.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So if you want to follow just some random stuff, you can go ahead and follow us. And again, like I said, email us, podcast@phoenixdownradio.com. The website is www.phoenixdownradio.com. And again, I want to thank our guest, Chille. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I also want to thank you on behalf of Sarah, who couldn't be here today. He will be joining us again soon. And on behalf of LunaVox and Seo Mayo, I am Klaus Nightbringer, wishing you all a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us.
Phoenix Down Radio is a production of PhoenixDownRadio.com and Illusion Productions. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. In-game content for Phoenix Down Radio is the copyright of Square Enix. Opening music for Phoenix Down Radio is provided by Guilty Gear Rock You. Check out the Metal Chocobo theme cover and many other music videos at youtube.com/Guilty Gear Rock You. Closing music for this episode is provided by Guitar Wanker 90. Please check out their full version of Matoya's Cave and other rock video game covers at youtube.com/Guitar Wanker 90. The views and opinions expressed in this episode are those of Phoenix Down Radio and its hosts and do not reflect the views of Square Enix.